We put it in here. Just put it in here. Is that easier?
That's perfect.
Bring me a box candy.
I will.
Well, whenever I see you again, it's fine.
I'm
No
drawing
rush.
Sunday.
I love seeing you all. Like, it's like I pass by, I'm like, familiar faces. That means they were in class with Palmer too,
Yep.
which is great. I'll have to ask him.
I'll ask Belle. How old is Palmer?
He's 6.
Candy on Sunday.
Ah, you're right.
See what I did there?
I did. I'm proud of you. Since I know your love of coffee, I brought you your own classic title. Maybe. Oh, did it break?
Dude, I can fix that. I can drink that.
What? I haven't even touched it yet.
It's all good.
There you go.
Thank you.
Specifically for you, sir. All right.
We're like good cop, bad cop. So. Like this guy's being tricky.
Anybody want some koozies? I brought extra. It's that time. It's that time of year. It's like the sun is out.
I love a koozie.
For the skinnies, if it gets,
Love it.
depending on what you're looking for, it can be, well, pick whatever. Insert whatever you want to insert at that point. A little bit.
I was like stuffed in here. I'm like,
Dude, in there it's freezing. In here it's like hot. I don't understand. I do all the time. So I don't understand.
okay, cool. First off, thank everyone for coming. It's nice to see everyone. I think I've met everyone, and I don't know everyone as well. But I'm Elizabeth. I'm the title marketing coordinator. So I just kind of wanted to come and go over PowerPoint today on personal defense for yourself and your clients. So.
Personal defense, as in like fighting people over the title.
Yeah, I'm going to be teaching boxing lessons. Meet me outside the parking lot. So we have some fun.
I got it.
Okay. Okay, so starting off with defending yourself and clients. Obviously, protecting yourself is kind of at the front of everyone's mind in today's day and age. So I wanted to go over some of what we all can do to fight against the unforeseen things that could pop up. And obviously title insurance is a really big part of what is going to be protecting your clients from things in the past and things that you can't really see. So first point I really want to stress on is going to be fraud and impersonation. This was the biggest claim that we had last year in 2024. It is on the rise, especially in this area. So we just need to really be staying vigilant and staying focused on what is coming in through our doors. So that's kind of how you all can help those stop to it, is just really having a plan, because that's the key to success in everything. In gathering as much information as possible and using your resources. So I know everyone here has like Forewarn and things like that. That's a really big thing that is an asset to you all to kind of see their history before you even have to meet these people. One of the biggest first steps that we always stress on is getting copies of driver's licenses. That way you have that information behind you that you can kind of just get a little bit of comfort from knowing who you're going to be meeting and verifying faces to the names that you're seeing on these
And that's new, by the way. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but like that's when we've been talking with our underwriting team in Nashville about how to kind of guide us a little bit more. And it's a little extra. It's a little weird to ask for right now, but they kind of like, I think that's a good start. I don't know if you're all doing that or not, but it's just something we've hit on, and because we're going to ask for it anyway at the end. If they're not willing to give it to you early, you're probably maybe dodging something anyway when we're looking at. So, good.
Another thing, this is something that we can always help on too, is like reviewing the deed and kind of seeing what the history of that is to know who is supposed to be selling this property, because it very well could be an also check and see a loan to match names to the people who have the loan on the property. That's another way that we can just verify a little bit more of that information. One of the things that we are really trying to stress on, especially for mail-aways, is going to be mobile notary service and IntelliCheck. Those are two of our biggest defenses that we use to just have another layer of defense for everyone involved. So we use a vetted mobile notary service that is going to be going to these people's houses that aren't in the area. They're going to be checking IDs, going to be making sure everything is notarized properly. And these people can't go and get their own. That's one of the biggest new things that we have, just because there's no more real trust. You don't know these people. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they're going to do after this. So we just want to make sure that everybody's covered.
And that had to happen. I'm surprised it actually was a real thing for so long. Like we just kind of said, hey, go get your own notary. We're good with it. Let's just do it. I mean, it was a thing, especially with some like light paperwork.
Yeah.
You know, like you only need a few stamps. Like I'm sure somebody, you know, ABC title company anywhere could probably just run it and do it. And we do that for people too. People walk in our office often, but that's, and we could use the word underwriting again, but that's them. They're saying no. And they also were talking about no mobile closings for about, that lasted for about 30 seconds. And I'm like, absolutely not. Because, or like, you're going to have to use a service that's been vetted by, like, we have Old Republic and Fidelity that we use. They were going to be one of the two. Like if we were using Fidelity for this one, they would have to go to a Fidelity agent. Now they're a big company, so it was doable, but like, that's not going to work. So we've done our process. We've vetted the team that we use. And they've done a really good job for us. I feel confident when we send them out, because they're not going to be us, but they're also knowledgeable enough to get something done. And they also drop it back in FedEx for us. Send us a scanned copy of the driver's license, take a picture of it for us. It's just extra layers of protection that seem to get thicker and thicker. It's like that fluffy 8-layer biscuit that everybody like, well, I like. You too? Yeah? Okay. It's just getting there. Now we just added some cinnamon on top to continue that. So that's what we have to do now. But I'll let you get back into IntelliCheck is something I know. It was rhetorical, man. It's okay.
So IntelliCheck, that's going to be one of our online services that we use. So we basically are going to send a text to someone's phone number. All they have to do is just lay their driver's license on the table, take a snapshot of the front and the back of it, and then take a selfie. And that's just another way it runs through a system, verifies driver's license. You know, we've talked about this before. Not everyone knows if the Missouri's driver's license is fake. We don't all have that information in our arsenal, but the online has a way of verifying that. So just a great thing to really be taking a part of. So,
And that's really easy and quick too, by the way. Simple text, hit the button, it goes to a portal. They take a selfie, front and back of the driver's license. We know almost instantaneously if it's good or not. And the only time we've ever really seen it not be, thank the Lord, when it happens. I mean, some would know.
How do you check it?
They have this is the system. I guess I don't really know totally. It was this IntelliCheck system was given to us from underwriting. They just like their extra layer they wanted us to do. It's pretty. Oh, it's pretty good. This is the only time that I've had one get declined was because they didn't have the full driver's license in the photo, so it went right through. I guess this facial recognition. I really don't recognize. I don't know. That part has been. I just kind of left that one. That was a little bit above my IT intellect, but it's really worked out for us, and they felt great about it to where they vetted it, and it's actually a free service that we use. We don't charge anything extra for that. They felt that good about it, which is part of who we are as a company now.
Now, if they don't have a either statewide ID passport,
You can use a passport too.
When you're this kind of involved with the ID situation, but
Yeah.
say if like my aunt, for instance, she does not have like a state issued ID, she has like a military issued ID only, and she's older. How would you guys go about that in a situation like?
We're really not supposed to take a picture of that either.
Really?
Not from my knowledge. I could be wrong.
That's what I've been told too.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to do that, even from previous jobs. I don't think we're supposed to take a picture of those. So that would be one that would. I would listen to what you had to say and I would find a resolution. Probably. We've not really had those issues overall. I've had expired driver's license. I've had none. I've had, well, why are you not showing me your driver's license? Like, okay, something's probably wrong here. And then you dig a little deeper and go to the next room as it's like, hey, I don't have it because of this. I can't go get a new one because of this. I'm like, well, what else do you have?
I never
Right?
understood the whole expired driver's license thing because as long as it was valid before, like it proves who you are. It just says it's just you're not legal to drive,
Right.
You know, but it still has all your information on there.
Not valid though.
Should be able to use my like
It should
16-year-old
still
picture.
count. I mean, not for driving, but proving who you are.
That's just prevent. That is one of the biggest things for fraud. It's just that. Just like the same, I can't go use my expired driver's license to go buy alcohol either. It's just not going to happen. They won't take it.
Put your thumb like over where.
You could try, I guess. I mean, I'm getting nothing gray. My beard says I think I'm probably all right, but you want to kind of go by the letter of law with that. There's really no no leniency. I've had, Lincoln's not here, but I had one of his clients did not have a driver's license at all or any ID. Like, well, they went to the DMV and got it that day. I mean, it was like that was how I woke up. That was the message I got to my day. This was a while ago. I'm like, well, cool. You got a lot of time before your 4 o'clock closing to get this taken care of, my man. So here we go.
Just trying to be off the grid or what?
I don't know. I think she was just older, if I remember correctly, and she just kind of hadn't needed it for anything, So that was interesting. And Passport works too. I mean, it's a really good one. We use those often. It says we don't need 2 forms of ID, by the way. I know some lenders do. When we do our stuff, it's just one. We're good with one. If you have 2, bring it. I'm never going to tell you not to.
When are we gonna need the real ID?
Oh, soon.
Never.
Like now, right?
Was it May?
Yeah, it's
Fly.
right. Fly. Yeah. Mine expires this year, so I get to go anyway. So
My
I guess I'll let you know some more.
Real.
That's true. It is. I would agree with that. Good.
Yes.
Yep.
So, biggest thing, money. That's why I love you. It's important. So, one of the biggest things we can stress is with wires now, we need to be verifying from the seller standpoint that the name on the wire matches the account it's going to. So we can't, if someone's title is under the name James, we can't be putting that into his LLC from the proceeds of his sale. It's just an underwriting thing. That is a big way that people are committing fraud is by putting something under an LLC
Yes.
and claiming that it's theirs. So that money's going into someone else's pocket and you don't even realize it. Then verifying instructions with buyers. We have an extra layer of protection for them in our wiring instructions by blanking out the first 3 digits of our account number. We have them call and we verbally verify with them. One of the biggest things that I could tell you all is whoever your closer is on that deal, ask the buyer to talk to them. That way it gives them a little bit more comfort inside and you all a little bit more comfort because you know who they're talking to. They can call you and say, okay, I talked to Brett, my closer, and we got all this sorted out. You know that they're meant to talk to Brett. So that's just a little bit more comfort on everyone's mind. With disbursement, we're not going to disperse anything to anyone until everything is verified and it has cleared your account. Cashier's check, we have to call the bank. We have to make sure that everything is good on that. We have to make sure wires have cleared the account, ready to be pulled out. We're not going to send out, unfortunately, withdrawals, checks, lending, homeowners insurance. We're not going to do any of that until everything is accounted for and good to go.
Why do we have to verify cashier's checks? Thought those were good.
Well, the Nashville, there was not a good one. I think he's gone over this with a couple of you all. I don't know if everyone's heard about it, but a couple months ago, there were 2 instances within the same week where these people went, bought $1.2 million house, bought a $1.2 million house, used cashier's checks. They weren't verified, dispersed. There's no money. Fake cashier's checks. And because they didn't verify that, everyone's just kind of at a loss at this point. So,
$4 million loss.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
a big loss, and it can happen like that. Just because you don't make
So
phone
the
calls.
seller is just out, Or like
No, the title company's out.
the title company is out?
That's our attorney, whoever it was. They're out.
So that's a claim against the title insurance, and that's another big reason why you need to stress these clients get
Title
title
insurance.
You know, one of the two underwriters that we have, I don't see as often, and I don't need to because I don't really like. Don't waste your 4-hour trip to come up here. I'm good. Like we're okay. We can talk on the phone. And she came in brought us lunch. We were pretty excited. Then she dropped that news on me. I said, great. So I've been scaring the bejesus out of people about wires for the last 10 years, and now you're about to flip to that because that's probably what's going to happen next. In most states, it is that way anyway. Tennessee is one of the few that let us do cashier's checks. But don't be surprised if you see it on your contracts for the next year or two. I'm shocked it's not already happened. Because just think about location where that instance took place. It happened in Nashville, where everything kind of happens, and it's just you don't have to even think twice about it. It's just coming, and we still take them. By the way, we'll do, but we do our process and we verify what's going on. It may take an extra couple minutes, but it's worth it. It's worth it for us. So that's fun. It's just new fun, scary stuff every single day. What we kind of got to peel back. But that's why you want to work together and kind of understand what's going on too. Like, hey, this is why we're doing this, and this is kind of why we're kind of chatting today. So,
What if my client, they sold their family home in Missouri and got a good chunk, $400,000, and they're buying a house here in Tennessee for $300,000, but they're selling this on like a Thursday. They're driving up, want to close this on a Friday. Can they just keep their check issued from the title company to them that they can hand to you?
no, it's not good funds. Just at that point, I'll just tell them to wire it directly to us. Just eliminate a step. It's just kind of like,
Have their title company wire it to
Uh-huh,
you, and
just-
then you can cut the difference?
Yeah.
If there's a difference?
yeah, we can get it back to them. They can do the whole thing, or they can just cut. Like we could do that too. I'm just trying to think about if we put in my situation, because you'd want those funds to be good, because they wouldn't be escrow checks wouldn't be considered good funds in Tennessee, even though they are. It's like again, it's a trust factor thing. You can walk out of my office. I can literally cancel your check if I wanted to.
Right.
I'm not going to because that's against the law, but I could. But I could do it, and it's like if we have, you know, you want me to? I'll just like wait till like he gets all the way to the finish line next time he has some smart mouth remark.
Bank with that check yet? Yeah, man. All right.
But if I know I can do it, that means anyone else can do it too. And with a cashier's check, you can't do that. And a wire, you can't. Those are good funds all the way. So like wires can be scary, but you're also, that's verified good funds and going, so there's just a little more communication. But if we know that ahead of time, that's fine. That's
Don't let your buyer do that,
no.
because I've done that. No fun. I asked, is this good? Maybe. And I'm like, cool. I'm at the title company. They're like, never mind. It's like, right. So we had to find an associated bank to put it in there, and it was actually the same bank.
That's good.
Luckily.
That's lucky. Yeah.
We were like, oh, it was down the road. We like switched it out for a certified check, brought it back, we could do it. Because they were terrified of, older folks sometimes get real afraid
Mhm.
of wire.
Yes.
because
Yep.
They feel good with the paper in their hand.
Mhm.
But they don't understand the exact same thing can happen. So it was Dustin.
But also too, like if you found that information out and like they were coming this direction, he's like, hey, yeah, we just left, we closed. You just talked to them. They pulled a check out of the office and started up the road, and then he called back like, actually, I need a wire.
Yeah.
In today's world, you take a picture of those checks and we deposit them on our phones. So if you've left with a live check, you got to bring it back. Then it's a void process, and that could be a couple days, depending on who you're working with. So like a little more, like kind of find out what's going to happen next. You don't want to be, too invasive, but you need to ask, and that could save you some time. Actually, a lot of time, because it could be a week. Because I know I've talked to some that would just say, well, we need to hold it for a little while. You left with a live check because you could take a picture and deposit it. I'm not going to write two. That could be fraud, even though it's a nice old lady that's coming from Missouri to here or whatever else. It's like you just can't. That's just the path. That's banking protocol. So
I like the idea too of even like something crazy happens, the lender is not sending the CD or whatever, and then the title company's like, we have a balance. The client's now mad. Oh, I don't have my final number. It's your fault. The title company's not. And you're like, well, the CD's not here. I can't balance this. Instead, they're sitting there waiting by the phone. Tell me the amount, Clay. Tell me the amount, Clay. Clay. And you're like, dude, I don't have it. So I normally just get tell them to do that overage. I always say 1,000 or 2. If they balk at it and then be like, there's a chance you will not close. Like, hold the pain to it. Don't be agreeable. But, oh, we'll figure it out. Because then you're sitting there like, okay, it's this. I'm like, oh, I didn't bring this. And my bank, the closest one's in Asheville.
Mhm.
So just send the overage. It's there. You get a cool little check at closing, and you're good. You can look at the numbers. This is a real life title company. I know them personally. Nobody's taking your money. It's going here, and this will be issued back to you. That keeps it so clean. I have felt people go, oh, okay, I could just do that? Yeah.
It's totally fine.
You send it, you hold it. Okay, I can do it before? Yeah. We close Friday.
They
It's
don't do it
Wednesday.
in closing,
You know? Yeah.
especially when your bank's in Alaska.
Yeah, don't be in closing. Like, so where do I
That's
wire
rough.
funds to? And you're like, oh, no.
That's, yeah.
Because now, I mean, it depends on the bank. Because some banks, I think you told me, some banks you have to be in person to issue the wire.
Yeah.
You can't just call and be like, wire. You have to be there in person with all your ID to issue it. So that works when you're driving. Issue this, so you're closing on a Friday. Can I send it on like a Wednesday? And you're like, we have it. All right, so we don't have to run up to the wire. We can do it then, have it for you days. It's there. We got it. Sign
Yeah,
up. Sign.
a couple extra days is fine. That's a good way to look at it. A lot. I mean, you get some pushback, but like it's just your delivery. He's right. What he just said is perfect. Because we do get those. I'll look over and I kind of can feel something. Kind of lean back in my chair, like, what's going on in that conference room? Like I don't. The next thing you know, new agent probably comes in. Can we get wiring instructions? I'm like, okay. You know what time it is, and you also know what day of the week it is when those happen. You know what kind of holidays on a Monday when that happens too. And there's not going to be any money till Tuesday. Do you give keys out? What are we doing?
Yeah, that's what people
Right?
are
You know, it's like.
I'm selling my house. I don't have money right? Because you didn't send it.
That's and that's what no one wants at all. So like, yeah, Matt's exactly right. You can go a couple of days early. If people call and they say, when do you want to send it? I would always say at least a day early, at least, because you just never really know. If you call a bank, they're going to say it can take about, average is about 2 hours, like usually, maybe a little longer, a little less, but they say it can take 24 hours because it can.
My lady, hers said 12 to 72 hours.
That's not it. That's not good. That's scary. That's not what anybody wants to hear. It's like, what? Hold on a minute. Like, what? What did you say?
Like 12 is the fastest. Oh.
Was it Chase?
I don't know.
They've hit me with that before.
South Carolina.
And there's also some, too, that will only let you wire a certain amount of money per day. You know how you only find that out the hard way. Yeah, you only find out the hard way. Next thing you know, you're going to drive to Greenville, South Carolina to get a cashier's check from said bank I just said. That's fun. Well, I can write a personal check for $300,000. You good with that? Then I'm the bad guy. It's like, well, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. Or just bring a duffel bag full of cash. Right? That's what we're really cool with. Bring it in. Follow the money. Right? Let's do it.
I've had sellers request that. Could we have partial in cash at closing? Absolutely not. You're essentially because why would you want that? I don't want to be taxed on this. You're asking me to be an accessory to your fraud.
There it is.
Behavior,
There you go.
They don't think it through though.
We not disclose how much the sale was too.
You know, like a big old duffel bag. Tell them we sold it for what we do with the car is $1. Dude, Uncle Sam will get you.
And it's tax time, so I've been pumping out a lot of 1099s and settlement statements that we didn't get at closing, didn't get a copy of. That's what I'm hoarding those just to make sure that we don't get it. Like I love those phone calls and emails this time of year. It's like, cool, yeah. It's like, just tell me you've lost it. It's okay. I'll get it for you. We have to have it because we have to report them anyway, so it doesn't matter. We had one recently that didn't want to give up their social because we had to have it because they were selling. It's like, okie dokie. That was at the table. It's like, what do we do next? It's just, but we combated it. We finally got there. It took about an hour to resolve that issue because we don't have to have it, but if we don't, it's like 35% of your gross. And we
Not to interrupt, but there are Mennonites walking on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I saw him at the gas
Saw that
station
earlier.
down there when I was coming in.
He's real nervous about getting converted. I don't know where that closed.
Never seen him in a while.
My cousin.
Okay, so ensuring accuracy, we can all be our own worst enemy. I've fat fingered a lot of things before in focusing on the details. It's as simple as that. I mean, how many parcels are being transferred? We had one of those recently where on a contract, which we have to go by a contract, only had one parcel, so we only transferred one parcel. At this closing, they came back at the closing table and said, no, I'm supposed to be getting two. So that's one of those things where it's like, we all have to stay on top of it and be verifying everything with these people. Make sure they get what they are actually expecting. How do you spell client's name? That's another reason that we always get copies of driver's licenses. So we can verify, because I mean, we all know there's a lot of different spelling that are a little out there. How does the client want the title to be conveyed? Wording is everything on a deed. That can really change a lot of things that'll happen later on in life. So we want to make sure that we're getting everything recorded properly how they actually want it. Because the way it vests depends on the wording. Being upfront with the desired time frame. I mean, communicating that with us is just huge. We can always do what we need to do to get done ASAP. We'll pull strings. We'll figure it out. We're going to get everyone to where they need to be and make sure everyone's happy with how it goes. So just make sure that we're all communicating with each other. We need to do the same thing. Make sure everyone's up to date on what step of the process we're on. I mean, we don't ever want anyone to call and be like, I've not heard anything and it's been 2 weeks. Closing's in a couple days. I don't know what's going on. We need to all make sure that we have open lines of communication. We're all staying on top of each other.
So with that too, like she's talking about like the proper vesting of deeds and contracts. I mean, you can put whatever you need to put. But like we're gonna ask anyway, but you have to get a little morbid about different things, especially when it's not husband and wife or just two individuals just kind of joining in, or more than that, because you want to figure out what comes next. Like, hey, if something happens to me, I want all of my vesting rights to go to this person. Well, or do you want it to be 50-50 to where it goes to my heirs? Like those are real questions, and if those don't get completed correctly at the time at the table, that's where a lot of like potential claims, and not really claims, but problems happen after the fact. Because you don't like there's a way to interpret different things, but it's also if it's typed out correctly, you can kind of dodge yourself for that. So like A and B is a joint tenants in common with the right of survivorship. Those are things like, what does that mean, right? Because most people aren't going to know what that means, but like we'll go over those things. Like this is what this means here. And I don't like to always have those morbid conversations, but we have to. We really have to. And that's something you all don't have to do, but we are going to ask. But if you kind of know what they are, especially when you're going to list a property, right? If you're not knowing, so you probably got to call it someone had passed away. Okay, let's pull the deed first. Yeah. What does it look like? That's my first step. I would say pull the deed first, or if we're talking, I want to look at the deed and look what the assessor's office has first, and then see, okay, what's next? Okay, it was this and that. If I see they were married and wife and husband, you're going to be probably okay if it's one of them. But again, that opens up a whole can of worms, but it could have been fixed correctly the first time they closed. So we're going to ask those questions because we've seen what it could be on the other side and how quickly and how lucky we've gotten a few times with some things that have happened when we've had dead people sign contracts, which is crazy. It's amazing when that happens. And it really is. It's just like, what? Okay, whatever. However you did that, that's fine. But like, we didn't find out that they were dead until 3 weeks into the show. Yeah, that's really fun times in our office. So that's usually when I say, hey, title work's not back yet. It's probably because of something like that. Let's go back and search probate, or let's go look at this, or there's a problem in the chain of title. You know, what are we really looking for? Best case scenario, like getting something done quickly. Like we can close something in a week. That's real. That can happen. You call me on a Monday morning, like, hey, I had a cash deal. I'm almost like let me do a little pre-research while we're talking about it. And I see no payoff, lot in a subdivision. Everyone's going to be here. Washington, Sullivan, Greene County. Well, actually, probably all of them at that point for that close. But like those certain counties that are a little faster because they're all online. We can get it closed within that week, and then everybody looks like a hero. But I'm also going to ask a lot more questions up front about time frame. So first question is always going to be what county it is if you're looking about getting something closed quickly, because it really just depends on that first. If it's in Johnson or Hawkins County, their stuff's just not all the way up to date online. We do a lot of work in both of them, but we know that it's going to take just a little bit longer to get there because their records online only go back to 2008. And we had to do a 40-year title search to be able to write title insurance on our property. So
a big fire in Mountain City or something.
Yeah, there was.
Wiped out a lot of the records.
like there's not as many.
Us at all.
Does it not?
when Tim went to Georgia. I don't know.
I think we blame Tim.
It was right around the time he left. It's like he wiped his past.
And also with that too is we get to something. If you see like so let's say we get a cash deal that comes in and it's like a 45-day close, that's a little off. Like maybe you said to put that out there because there's some different stipulations that I don't know about behind the scenes. We're still going to go quickly, like if we're going to close it in a week or 2 week time frame. But like if you're planning on like one of those things, if we know early, say, hey, I've got this closing date as the end of April, but we'd like to close sooner if we can. Those are things that I just kind of need to know. So we usually work on our files based off of closing date. Not always, because it might pull them, but it's like that's kind of the normal chain that we would go with. So that's when you kind of sometimes you need a little extra time to get through our underwriting process and review it. It may need one more question that we don't know of because I'll be honest with you, every file usually has a problem. You just don't know about it because we don't go that far unless Dustin's just breathing down my neck, just coming by one day, just kind of what's up, hey man, hey, let's look at it. Well, you know what? Let's look at it together. let's read this. Let's read this together. But so every one of them usually does. We just kind of get through that without having to involve you until we do. Quicker close. I know I got a payoff that's got that. It's a tough one to get from a lender. I'm probably going to need seller help. We're going to try first, but if I know that and I already know the time frame, it's going to take a week to get that payoff. If it's me, but if you call, you can get it the same day. Let's get it the same day, right? So we're going to work together on those type of things.
What do you need from like the agent wise as far as documentation? Because that is still a lender yesterday too. So
Yeah.
do you want like all of our file, or do you want just the purchase sale agreement with counters,
That.
things like that?
Purchase and sell with counters is fine with us. You can most are including the compensation agreement now, which is fine. I'm still going to ask you. For us, the settlement statement and the deed trump all of what we do. Okay, for us. So we're going to have to all agree upon these things. We're going to get a look at it. Hopefully, we're going to look at least 24 hours ahead of time, at least see what they look like anyway. But I as much information, especially with commission now, the way it's working out. You may not know the other side, but if you know, just tell us. I'm still going to verify it. Like it's kind of like the way of the game right now. Everything we're talking about. Send that. Anything with counters, anything that changes the money, right? We need to know about. Anything that would be adding, like, so changing the money added, like seller pay closing costs, or we're going to change the purchase price in lieu of repairs. Those are the type of things we need. If you feel like it's just easier to send it all, just send it all. I'm not gonna tell you to not, but that's really all I really need is to make sure I got an accepted bound contract I can move forward with. I'm probably going to ask you if it's a loan. I'll probably reply and ask you who the lender's going to be in case they need something from me. I can go ahead and get started. Maybe we can eliminate a day that could eliminate that last day. And so we can close on a Friday instead have to go to a Monday, and then people look a little better. So we try to kind of jump all over those type of things.
And these things are all okay to get to you like right before closing, right?
Yes,
Like
usually
30 minutes before.
usually like if we're closing at noon, if I better have it right now, 11:43. So like when you get it done, I like to tell people, like talk to realtors, I like to just kind of like, hey, if you got once it's got signed, start a little bit of an email chain if you want to. I know not everybody loves that, but I like it because it keeps people accountable and myself. Throw me in there, throw the other agent, and then if you know the lender contact, at least one of them, put those together. Now we all know what's going on. We've been taking a lot of earnest money, so then when I get that, I can reply back. I got your wire in for earnest money, or I've received the check. So like, there's not a whole lot of wondering what's going on at 4:30 on Friday. Like, client's not heard anything from the title company. Like, what do we need to do? So I can kind of like start our show right there. I think it's really been very successful for many that do it, and include as much information as you got, like with contact information, because I'm going to ask about it anyway. If you got the buyers, give us the buyers, phone number, email's great. It's wild. We don't talk to the buyers as much until the end because we're usually working through title to work through selling. And the sellers are going to be our kind of a main contact as we start, and the listing agent. But we're talking to everybody. But like, we may not the buyers probably won't hear from us because we're going to talk to you all first, unless you're like, hey, just call them. Like they want to chat or whatever else, and we can do that too. So that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Be good.
So, defending yourself, that's kind of what this whole thing is about. Want to be thorough every step of the way so that you have enough information to be backing yourself up if it comes down to it. That's why we want to get all this information, have the records to show if you do need it, which we always hope we don't. That's the whole point of everything, because being prepared is always in your favor. This
Whoops. Fanny got a little trigger happy. Sorry.
This is what we do to protect everyone and a couple extra steps that we take. Behind the scenes, obviously, with title search, we look at the history of the property, connect any dots. We personally each have knowledge of the files. The closers themselves work on them. We have in-house underwriting. Everything we do ourselves. We don't have to send it out, which is great because we're gonna all have the knowledge and be able to answer the questions a lot quicker than some of the other places. Extra steps that we're going to take is verifying the parties using the softwares and companies I talked about. So the mobile notary and then the IntelliCheck. Those are really big points that we stress on to everyone from mailways. It's just a little bit extra that we do to make sure everything's safe, independent for everyone. We also have those two-state underwriting councils that he was talking about. We have Old Republic and we have Fidelity that we can easily reach out to get answers to questions that we might have. So if something has to go over our heads, we can always reach out and get a solution done pretty quickly. Then title insurance itself after closing, that's our guarantee to the client that if something was missed, their title is defended even if we have to take it to court. It's a one-time premium, so they don't have to worry about all these crazy lawyer fees or anything. It's covered at closing, and we're going to take care of it from that point on.
And God forbid that actually does happen. I mean, really, we do everything we do to prevent that, just like any other type of technical insurance you would think about. But that it can happen. Missing heirs do arrive. Like we don't get the eighth heir of the 8 kids. Like those things can happen. I mean, but when they do, what can you do? What Connect Company is going to do to back you up? So let's just say something does happen, right? Let's just go that route. The first thing you do, just call me or call and get in touch with whoever you're closed with, because they're probably going to have a little more knowledge with the file. And let's go there first. I would not tell you to go straight to like just get on your paperwork and just file a claim, because once that happens, I'm out of it. They pull me right out of it and I can't help. So let me help first, because more than likely I could probably fix something first, because we don't want to let's just not go to the top unless we have to. Chip, question? Yeah.
Affidavit of ownership.
Yes.
Explain that, please.
Yeah. That is a non-interested party that can claim that that's the only heirs to this property. So like if you have 4, let's just say we got 4 heirs to the property, you got 4 kids, you need to have somebody that comes in and say, hey, I know that's the only 4 kids. I've known this family for 30 years. We're okay. I'm swearing to that these are the only 4 people that.
Well, no, it was asked of my buyer recently, because I guess.
The buyer?
Yep. Would the buyer be willing to sign an affidavit of heirship, signed on behalf of the prior owner, but they were not able to track down anyone? That's literally a screenshot.
So they're wanting your buyer to do it?
Yeah.
Do they know him?
No.
I would.
Sounds like a good way to.
That's a whiff.
Right.
Sorry. That's not. You wouldn't want the buyer to do it anyway, because they're an interested party in the transaction.
Right.
I mean, anyone that has any interest at all.
I've actually signed one before.
Yeah. It's you probably have. I mean, we all are subject to be able to sign one of those if you knew it of people, if you knew the family and you felt confident in it. But again, that's just another say, hey, we feel good about it. What we have, we've got our will, we've got everything else, but let's have this another piece to the puzzle. I'm shocked that why would the buyer? I don't know. That doesn't sound correct at all. You would want to find somebody else. Usually it's like, we've had a cousin sign before. Usually it's just a friend of the family. And we're going to know that early on. Like when we get our stuff back, get title work back, goes through underwriting, we review it. Then we're going to send out like a welcome email letting you guys know what's going on. That's going to be part of it. Hey, we're going to have a requirement to have an affidavit of heirship signed because we know what we know already. So let's go. We can do that 3 weeks before closing. It doesn't have to be day of. We'll get that information. We'll sign it, notarize it, come by. I mean, I don't have to be here to do that, but if it's kind of nice, usually if you're kind of dealing with it, they can stop by. We can make those work. That's just an extra layer that helps. That title insurance underwriters required to kind of get to the table. They feel confident about to go forward. So we're not missing kid number 5. We feel pretty good about somebody that's a best friend of the family, because everybody's got one of those, right? That they can take care of that.
Are you still able to do title insurance on a situation
that would be why. That we would need that piece.
Gotcha.
Yes, that would be a requirement to write title if you hear that. Kind of like conditions when you hear from lending, like, hey, I got a condition to clear. We have requirements to clear. That's what we call them. So if you ever hear that, that's when I talk to lenders a lot of time they have that. So that's what we do for our side. That's I'll get together with you on that. We'll talk about it. Yeah, I'll see if I can help you. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. I guess I wrapped you up. My bad.
No, you're good.
Made your job easy.
Exactly. So, I mean, just thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Happy to help you any way we can for as much information as possible. I appreciate you all not heckling me.
Sorry.
You didn't get heckled, actually.